Hey everybody, Team Dare to Dream and Determination Nation. Thank you so much for joining us for this power lunch featuring Nikki Johnson talking to us about building our network. And Nikki is a top 20 coach right now. She's 12-star diamond, absolutely rocking out her business, 2-time elite. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about building your network, because obviously you're doing a very good job with that. So I'm just going to turn it on over to you.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. My daughter went back to school this week, so I have all this time on my hands. I was like, I'm showered and dressed and have makeup on and did my workout already. Like, that never happened. So yep. I'm feeling awesome. Okay, so growing your network. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about different ways and strategies to grow your network, both free and paid. These are all ways that have really helped me, and I believe that this is so important if you want to be successful. We have to be adding to our network every single day, especially if we're building on social media. It's just the best way to meet people that are like us, and it's the fastest way to meet people. So number one, when you're on Facebook or on any social media platform that you choose, you need to make sure that you are public. So make sure your profile is set to public. And if you're uncomfortable with this, there are ways to keep certain things private. So anything that you have posted in the past is not going to automatically be public. Any of your old photo albums, like if you're anything like me, when I started this business, I had so many photo albums of my daughter, and my son too, because I started when he was almost 1. So I had all these albums of my kids, but those do not go public unless you physically go into them and make them public. You can also set, when you're setting your posts, you can choose if they're public or if they're private, or you can even block certain people from seeing them. So if you're worried about a boss, or if you're a teacher and you have students and you're worried about posting your transformation picture, you can block certain people from your posts. But I feel like so many people are just so scared of going public, when in reality, this is your business now. So everything that you are posting should be with intention. So is it adding value to people's lives? Is it something that your niche is going to relate to? So it's all, if you go to my Facebook page, every single thing I post is strategic. There's a post for a reason. I don't post political stuff for a reason. I don't post stuff about religion, or a lot of my opinions I keep to myself, because I want to make sure that, I'm not losing people, or I'm not, attracting the wrong kinds of people. So I would just really recommend, when you go to your Facebook profile, and also your like page, just look at your cover photo. Is it, you want to have something that is kind of like not an advertisement, but you want to be able to show what you offer. So maybe you have a transformation picture, a picture of your family. You can visit some of the top coaches and kind of see what their cover photos look like. And make sure that you have in the description of that photo a little bit about you, and ways people can get in touch with you, and so they know that you have something to offer. The best thing about having a public profile is that when your friends comment on your picture, their friends will see your posts. So there are going to be new eyes on your profile, and if you don't have something that's going to tell them what you offer, or a way to kind of see what you're all about, then it's really hard for them to click that follow button or that friend button. But I can't tell you how many challengers or coaches that I have gotten from people seeing my posts from friends commenting on them. It's really fun too when you get like a hater. Like, I had a hater this morning she's not really a hater, but she was like arguing with me on my post about corporate America. And I was like, keep commenting, girl, because it kept bumping up in everyone's newsfeed. And because it was public, all these new people were seeing it. So make sure that when you go to your profile, that you have an attractive page. And also, you want to make sure that you're posting at least 3 to 5 times a day. Facebook does not show your posts to everybody on your friends list. The perfect example I have of this is I am pregnant, and when I decided to announce my pregnancy, we did like a cute little, I have a girl and a boy, so we did this cute little picture of them with tiebreaker, boys won, girls won, what will the new baby be? And it was a huge post. I got over 1,000 likes and tons of comments. And I was just certain, that everybody saw it. And, I had a couple days later, like a week later, if I talked about my pregnancy, I was still having people comment, I didn't know you were pregnant. Congratulations. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like how did they not see that huge post that got so much traction? It just goes to show you that Facebook doesn't show your stuff to everybody on your friends list. And some of these people were people that I was honestly shocked that they didn't see it, because I thought it's not like I haven't talked to them in, years. So just really don't ever feel like you're posting too much. It's never too much. And you kind of want to be repetitive. You want to be sharing your story as much as possible, especially if you're adding new people to your network. So you may feel like, oh my gosh, I talk about this all the time, but that's good because you have new people following you all the time that don't know your story, that don't know what you offer. So don't be afraid to continually put your invites out there, join your challenge group and your team, and talk about your story and talk about coaching and why it's changed your life. And also when you go to your Facebook page, you want to make sure that within a few scrolls, people know that you have something to offer, that there's something here, an opportunity for them. So I really encourage you to ask a success partner or ask your coach to kind of give you a Facebook audit. I try to audit myself every so often. I go to I just look at my Facebook page through the eyes of a new person and say hey, am I posting stuff that I want my ideal customer or my ideal coach to respond to? Because really what you want to be thinking of is, who is your ideal customer or your ideal coach? And are you posting things that's going to attract to that person? You want to be posting to one person. So I have this really cool exercise. You've probably seen it about creating your ideal customer, and you just basically list every single thing that your ideal customer likes or what they're afraid of or who they are, and get really, really narrow with it. Usually it's who you were before you found Beachbody. And then every time you're posting, you're talking to that person. My girl's name is Tara. I named her Tara. And so she is who I talk to every time I'm posting. And if you really take that exercise and put it into practice, you'll start noticing people coming to you that are a lot like you. There's a reason I have so many moms of young kids on my team, because I'm a mom of young kids, and that's kind of who I speak to. That's who I can relate to. So it's really, really cool when it starts happening, because it's just kind of creepy. You're like, oh my gosh. Or people feel like that your story is theirs, or that they can relate to your story. And that's what you want. You want people to feel like you understand what they're going through and you know how to get through it. So when you're adding new friends, on Facebook particularly, that the reason I talk the most about Facebook is because that's where I've primarily built. And I'm learning Instagram, but it's not and I've been on Instagram since it started. I just have never really strategically used it for my business, because I just put everything into Facebook. But you should be adding friends to your Facebook public page. So your profile, friends of friends, that Facebook suggests people. I always, when I friend request people, I usually send them a little note, and sometimes it goes to their other folder, but I just say, hey, I don't want to be a weirdo, but I noticed you're a mom. I'm always trying to connect to other moms, something along those lines, where you're kind of acknowledging that you might be being a little bit creepy, but really you're just trying to make new friends and connect with people, which is what social media is for. Another really great way to add friends is so for example, this is what I did. I didn't meet my husband until we were both graduated college. So we don't have any of the same friends growing up, or any of the same high school or college friends. So I went to his friends list, and I friend requested all of the women that he was friends with that looked like, they were moms, in my niche. And so most of them accept my friend request, because they're like, oh yeah, that's Ben's wife. I know who she is. And so it's not as weird. And I've even had some, they start seeing my posts, and they'll message me and say, hey, I know we've never met before, but I went to high school with Ben. I'm really interested in your challenge group. So that's a really great way to kind of find people that already have a little bit of trust built up in you, because they know your spouse. So I love that little secret. Gone through all of them. So but it could be helpful for you guys. Joining groups. So there's so many groups on Facebook. You can just type in the search bar anything that you are interested in. That doesn't have to do anything with health and fitness. You know, I'm in some mom groups or like breastfeeding groups, co-sleeping groups, Bernie's Mountain Dog groups, because I used to have Bernie's Mountain Dogs. Anything, like you could be in sewing groups or a band you like. And really, we're not in these groups to spam people or just post about our challenge groups. We're in there to connect with other people that have similar interests as us and add value. So you want to make sure that you're being involved in these groups, so that way when you do go to send a friend request, that they'll be like, oh yeah, that's Nikki from, you know, the dog group. I'm going to accept her friend request because she adds value in that group. You could also even talk to sometimes the admins. If you have like a free group, it doesn't have to be a free clean eating group. I like to run, I have a free pregnancy group that I'm running right now. And you can talk to the admin and say, I have this free group. Would you mind if I posted about it? I think it would be really helpful to the people in this group. Or if you can say it's not related to anything having to do with dogs, but I thought it might help some people. So as long as you're not like selling in these groups, people are usually okay with, you know, you posting stuff about, you know, a free group or something like that. But we just want to make sure that we're always putting the relationship first, the person first. We're not out for the sale. We're not out for anything other than can what I have to offer be of value in these people's lives, because ultimately that's really what matters. So don't just go joining a ton of groups and then thinking I'm going to, you know, spam all these people. You want to make sure that you're really adding value to their lives. Another way to grow your network that sometimes we just don't even think about is wear and share. So when you wear anything that you know, we're so lucky that we have these brands that are everywhere and people know about them, especially some of the older ones. Yeah, 21 Day Fix, especially the older ones too, like Insanity and P90X, and people know those for some reason. You know, they're just like those are the ones that everyone knows. Nobody has heard. Like, I swear I get people say, what are you doing? If I say, have you ever heard of Beachbody? They're like, nah. And then I say, have you ever heard of P90X? Oh yeah. So don't be afraid to wear, especially the older programs go on sale a lot. You can get them really cheap. And every time you go to like the grocery store or the airport, like I've had so many people stop me to ask me about what I'm wearing. And then also I love seeing other people. Like my husband went to the grocery store. We were visiting my dad in Myrtle Beach, and my husband texted me. He's like, there's a couple here rocking their wear and share. And if I was with him, I would have went up to them, but he would never just go up to somebody. But it really sparks a conversation. And make sure when you are talking to people in person that you're getting their contact information. I know we all love to have cards and they're all fancy and fun, but if you give a card, always get that person's information, because 9 times out of 10, they are not going to contact you. I still think about the chef that I had. I went to a hibachi restaurant in Myrtle Beach, and I don't even know how it came up. I don't know if he overheard us talking about Beachbody, but he had done Insanity, the chef, and he was talking about it and he loved it. And I gave him my card, but I didn't give him my information. And I still think about him because I never heard from him. And he had lost so much weight with Insanity. And I just was like, oh man, I should have gotten his information. So make sure that you either like what I do, especially like on the playground, I just have my phone with me and I just say, oh, are you on Facebook? And then I'll look them up on Facebook and then friend request them. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals, especially from your challengers. When you are, you know, coaching all of these people, hopefully they're having a really great experience and they will want to refer you. So don't be afraid to ask, because if we were in any other business, like other businesses always are asking for referrals or giving rewards for referrals. So I have a referral program. Anybody who refers a challenger to me who purchases a challenge pack, I will give the referrer, I will give them a $25 Amazon gift card just to thank them. And hopefully, you know, if they start sending me multiple refers, then I talk to them about coaching. We're like, okay, you sent me quite a few people. You know, I think you could really be a great coach. I have like a little template that I send out, and I basically just send it out to all my challengers and tell them about my referral program. And I even have, that's a great way to also find out find out coaches. So don't be afraid to ask. Now, when you're choosing your social media platform, I like to talk about the saying, an inch wide and a mile deep. Because I think what happens, especially in coaching, is we have what's called shiny ball syndrome. So we'll be really comfortable with a platform, but then we'll watch a team call or a training on this other platform, and we'll think, oh my gosh, that's where I need to be. And then we'll go over there, and then we'll see something else. And I even do the same thing when it comes to like tracking and follow-ups. Like I've tried so many things like Asana and Google Docs and Excel. And so finally I found Streak. And I'm just on Streak all the time. And now I keep hearing in my ear, like, teensy. And I'm like, oh, well, is that better? And they're like, no, Nikki, like, just stay where you're good at. Like, don't mess things up. So it's the same thing with social media. Like, we always think that there's something bigger and better. Same thing with coach training. Everyone's trying to figure out what's the best new coach training. Well, it's in the back office. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel. So I really... it's okay to be on all of them. Like I have a YouTube channel, I have a Pinterest page, I have an Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook like page, but I really only focus on one place, and that's my Facebook like page. I have, we don't have a lot of time in our days, especially if we're moms. Like, you have to do your power hour, you have to do your workout, you have to do your personal development, you got to feed the kids, you have a lot going on. So if you're trying to learn all these different platforms, like, there is no time for that. Just pick one where you can maybe invest an hour a day or less. You can go on YouTube and watch training videos, and then really become an expert in that. I have been running Facebook ads now for, maybe 2 years. And, they sucked at first, and I had to learn them, and I have to relearn them when they change things. But I really make sure that I'm investing the time into that platform because it's paid off. I have over 11,000 likes now, and that's for a good reason. I'm trying to put a little bit more time into Instagram just to grow that platform as well, but I'm not trying to learn every single platform. So I really encourage you, and don't get discouraged. It takes time to build these cold markets. So you're not going to start a like page tomorrow and have 1,000 likes. It's going to take time, and you have to just be consistent, and you have to be posting to people that aren't responding or aren't even seeing it. You just have to keep doing that, and you have to be willing to invest in, some training. Don't be afraid to invest in your business. Take a percentage of whatever, you're bringing in and use it to put back into your business. I used to be so afraid of telling coaches to spend money on Facebook ads because I was like, oh, they should be able to, grow their network for free. Well, you can grow your network for free, but you can also invest some money and find people that are exactly like you that you can target so narrow and then attract them to you and really start building relationships really quickly. And in the long run, those investments are going to pay off. I can't tell you like tit for tat how much like this exactly paid off for this many challengers, but I know because it takes time that I'm bringing people into my network, and then I'm, forming them and building relationships with them. And then eventually I'm turning them into challengers or coaches. So I know that my investment is paying off. I can't have a chart and tell you exactly how long. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes a year for people to be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. You just never know. But if you don't even try, or if you try once and give up because you're like, oh, Facebook ads don't work for me, then it's pointless. You have to be willing to fail forward and figure it out. And now there's all kinds of, you can do like Instagram ads. I know people can do YouTube stuff too. I just like to use YouTube for kind of like my team. But I do get random like people subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, and a blog. I have a blog. So I kind of started my journey with my blog. I was a blogger. But a blog is really hard for me, at least, to stay consistent with. You have to really be consistent to grow a following on your blog. I really like it as a place that I can send people where I can have like long things of information, like what's a challenge group, or, really share my story more in depth. Because, on social media, people want short and sweet. They don't have time to like read an entire like page worth of your story. So if you have a blog, it's a great place to put it. But you have to be consistent in order for it to grow. I posted like today, and I posted last week, and I hadn't posted since February. Like I just totally fell off the wagon. When I got pregnant, I had a terrible first trimester. I was like, I could barely function. It's amazing that I even still hit Success Club 10 every month. I don't know how I did it, but my blog took a total backseat. And so now I'm just rebuilding, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens, and we have to just get back on the wagon when we're ready, and figure it out. So those are my main tips for how to grow your network. So I am totally open. If you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to, ask away.
Yeah, so if anybody has a question, go ahead and either post it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. But I think that your points about the squirrel syndrome with social media is really, really spot on. And I know that, is there any particular like page training that you like best?
So I have done some Sandy Krakowski training. I do think she's a little aggressive. Like realistically, posting 12 times a day on my like page is not going to happen. But her ads training really helped me. I have not done Jesse Reagan, but I have heard really good things about him, especially if you're new. I heard that he really breaks it down for people. And then I've been taking this woman called Sarah Dan. She does like marketing training and sales funnel, which is using like your email to kind of newsletters and stuff. And she has Facebook training within her marketing training, and it's like marketing and branding and stuff. And I really, really like her because her training is geared towards Beachbody coaches. Like she's specifically has programs that are like, are you a Beachbody coach? And here's what you can do. Yeah, which I really like, because sometimes when you get the broader trainings, it's kind of harder to figure out, what to do. But those are the ones that I've invested in. But there's a bunch of free trainings on YouTube. I'm trying to think of Nick Unsworth. He's one. What's his like page called? I forget. But Nick Unsworth, he's good. And then Amy Porterfield has good stuff too.
She's really good. She's really nice too. Can you share a little bit about your story while we have a little bit of time?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I basically so when I grew up, I was an athlete, and I pretty much just was always active, and I didn't have to really worry about nutrition. But my mom was like always trying new diets, like anything Oprah like endorsed. She was like, this diet. So I kind of had this unhealthy relationship with food from the beginning. And then, but I was playing soccer all the time. It didn't matter. And then when I went to college, I started, drinking more and being active less, and I just gained so much weight. And so it kind of started this whole yo-yo dieting thing, like do the South Beach diet, lose a bunch of weight, and then, put it all back on because I couldn't eat carbs, and then I would eat all the carbs. And so I remember when I met my husband, I had done the South Beach diet, and I was like my lowest I'd ever been. And then we like fell in love, and we're going to dinner all the time, and I was like putting weight back on, and then I got pregnant, and I was like, we were not married, and I was just like, oh my God. And at the time I was working, I had a job at AOL. Like my mom works there. I had worked there for 5 years. It was really stable. And I just thought I'd always work at AOL. And he had actually he owned a few businesses with some of his fraternity brothers in Charlotte. He had sold his portion to move up with me. So we decided when we had Molly that I was going to go back to work and he was going to stay home. And so I had Molly. 2 weeks after I went back to work, I got laid off. And he didn't have a job, and then I didn't have a job, and then I was in the middle of suffering from terrible postpartum depression. It was just like this horrible storm of everything could go wrong. And so I decided to not go back to work because I wanted to stay home with her. So I started hustling. I started my blog. I started saying I was a freelance writer, and people were hiring me to write for them. I started a cake business, which didn't help with my weight. I gained like 50 pounds with Molly. And we were planning a wedding, and eventually he found a job, and I actually started working for that company as a blogger and a social media manager so I could work from home. So everything's going well. Like he's working there and I'm working at home, and we get married and we get pregnant again. Still haven't lost the baby weight, but everything's better, with our life. So then I have Burke, and I put on even more weight. So I was like almost close to 200 pounds. and just miserable. And then the company folded that we both worked for. So we were like back to where we were. We're like no jobs. And we moved so we could live somewhere cheaper. And my mom helped us pay our rent. And it was just really a low. And we were going on like 9 months unemployment. But at the same time, I was on my own weight loss journey. I'd found this woman who said, you know, I'll help you for free if you blog for my business. And so she kind of like taught me all about nutrition and tracking and doing high intensity interval training, because I was like going to the gym and just doing the elliptical. And, you know, I was like, why am I not losing weight? And then eating like huge salads. Like, no, why am I not losing weight? So I just started posting on my blog about my weight loss journey, because I knew that if I held myself accountable that way, that I would stick to it, because I was a chronic quitter, like start something new and then quit. So every month I had a postpartum update. So I'd say 6 months postpartum, I would put a picture of, you know, where I was. I would share what am I eating, what am I doing for working out, and then I would share my blog posts on Facebook. And so people were watching me and they started asking me what I was doing, and I would like respond to them and say, oh, this is what I'm doing. So I was doing everything a Beachbody coach does, but unknowingly I didn't know about Beachbody. And so about 6 months into my journey, I saw this sign in this little gym that we in our neighborhood. It wasn't a Gold's or anything. It was just like the community gym that has a few equipment. And it said that these people were going to get together to do T25. And I didn't know what that was, but I just kind of missed going to Gold's gym and having a group exercise class. So I thought, oh, maybe I can meet some people. And it was like 4 people. Nobody was a coach. It was just a bootleg copy of T25. I don't even think we went in order, but I really liked it. It was fun. And I was getting up early and going and doing it. And so I started talking about it on my blog. I was like, oh, I'm doing T25. It's this guy, Sean T. And this guy I went to high school with started seeing my posts, and he's a coach. And so he started commenting on my pictures more. And so when his posts started showing up in my newsfeed about coaching, and I knew about network marketing because I have friends who did like Sell and Dot and some other companies. And I just was like, oh, I can never do that. I can never like have parties or sell things. And so when I saw his post about he quit his graphic design job to become a coach. And I was like, well, I know that graphic designers make pretty good money. So I asked him about it. I was just curious. And he sent me some information. He tried to do the whole GoPro thing where he's like, well, send me a time. Send me a time and I'll call you.
GoPro you.
Yes. And we'll call. And so I was like, oh my God. I remember I texted him. I was like, sorry, my kid's really sick. I can't.
Oh, no.
And then finally he got me on the phone and he was like, did you watch the video I sent? And I was like, well, no, I only watched part of it. And he's like, well, I'll call you back after you watch it. And I was like, no, let's just talk about it. And he said, you know, you're doing everything a coach does. You're not getting paid. And, you know, we're running out of money. Like Ben still hadn't found a job. I was thinking about going back to corporate America, which I didn't want to do. And I just kind of was like, why not? You know, and I even said, can I do this without Shakeology? Because I have my own protein shake that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And he was like, well, I'll send you some if, you know. So I was like, I'm really picky. If I don't like it, then I don't think I can do it. And I didn't even buy a challenge pack. I signed up for the $40 because I couldn't spend $205 on a T25 challenge pack. But because of all of that work that I had put in unknowingly, like all that trust that I had built up, I was able to hit Success Club 16 my first month. And that kind of like just got me hooked. And I just set my sights on Success Club 10 forever. That's all I've ever hit. It's my non-negotiable. And so I just was able to like see that vision. And I started going on YouTube late at night and watching all these success stories. Like I watched all of them, all the ones in the back office. And I just had this feeling that this is what, and my driving force was to bring my husband home, because like about 2 weeks after I signed up, he ended up getting a job that he hated. So that was like my big driving force, was to retire my husband. And I just think that my why and my vision has been what's been able to accelerate me so quickly. And not only that, but putting in all that legwork unknowingly. I think it's harder for new coaches who don't have a transformation yet or don't have that trust built up yet. And so we compare so much in this business, and I feel like you don't ever know someone's backstory. And so you can't compare yourself to anybody else because you're on your own journey. And if you start comparing, then that's where you just go down the negative wormhole and can't come out. So that's my story.
It's interesting that you talk about blogging because like I've been working on my Instagram and it's like everyone's a blogger. Like, oh my gosh, everyone's a blogger, it seems like. Maybe just the people I'm finding. But you're right. I mean, it's, blogging is definitely something that it's not just build your blog and they will come flocking to you. You have to put time and effort into it. So
Yeah.
You were a writer like before, like that's kind of something that you like to do.
Yeah, and I did, when I worked at AOL, I worked in editorial and content. So it's just something that I've always done. And I like blogging because it's your voice. It's how you talk. It doesn't have to be proper,
Yeah.
And so I just, and as a new mom and I saw it as a way that I could make money because people, you can get your blog sponsored. And, I was having people sending me things for reviews, like for my kids. Like I've done so many toy reviews. And so it was just like a way for me to say, hey, I can monetize my blog and make money and stay home with my kids. And I still get, it's so funny that I took this huge hiatus from it this year and I still get emails of like people wanting me to do stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't do any endorsing anymore because I don't want it to like interfere with my coaching. And I just don't want that anymore. But I just am like, have you looked at my blog? It hasn't been updated since February. Why are you doing that?
That's really interesting that you signed up for $40, didn't buy a challenge pack, didn't do Shakeology, but yet here you are. Because I know that probably more often than not, we come across people like that want to, get started and they don't want to spend any money. And so what do you say to us that are constantly running into those people? Because anything like Beachbody is, I'm trying to figure out who's on here that's not muted. I think with anything with Beachbody, it's very much a numbers situation. So like you very well could be that 1 in 100 that signs up without doing Shakeology at the beginning and it's successful.
Yeah. So I always lead with the challenge pack because I know the value of it. And I always say like, I totally flushed that money down the toilet. Like I signed up for $40 and then I sold challenge packs to afford my Shakeology. So like 2 weeks later I bought Shakeology. And then like 2 weeks after that I bought T25. Like I just wasted money because it didn't buy the challenge pack. So I try to share that, the value of the challenge pack, but I also always offer the $40 because I have a few coaches that signed up for the $40 that have been able to, become successful at this business. And for them, I just say, you talk about doing this journey together with people and starting this journey together. Because if you get at least like 3 challenge pack sales, you're going to be able to afford to pay for your Shakeology. So I always try to come at, and of course I've signed up people for $40 who have done nothing. And so it just really depends on the person and how motivated they are and if they really have that vision that it can be done. And so I should go back to my old conversations and see like, how did I talk to people about the challenge pack without actually being on Shakeology? Like I had samples and I drank the samples, but I wasn't on it for, 2 weeks plus the week it took to ship. So like a month I did. Yeah. I think it's just kind of how you talk to them about the opportunity and where they can take it, even if they don't have the money to buy a challenge pack right away. And I have some people that sign up for the $40 and then within that first 30 days, they will purchase a challenge pack or at least Shakeology because they are in the groups and they see, the value of it, or they really want it and they just figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah. We have one question. Somebody asked if you've tried practical social media.
I have not. My mom, who's actually a 3-star diamond coach, she did it when she was a new coach. And I think she really liked it, but I think that she thought I think they provide like a whole blogging platform for you. And she didn't like that because it was very kind of like Beachbody salesy type, like the layout. So she just uses her own blog, but I think she did get a lot of value out of it. I know a lot of people who like it and who have success with it. So I can't speak from experience, but I hear good things about it. And I know people like.
I used it for a couple years. I think that the content is really good. The university is a lot of really great content. It's like anything. If you use it, it's good. Very module oriented. I used the blog for a while, and for my first blog, it was fine. But like you said, it got to a point where I wanted to have a little more freedom. So I did convert over last year. So
yeah.
All right. Is there any more questions? I don't see any more. Your points were very specific and very helpful. So I really appreciate your jumping on here in the middle of the day. And thanks to everybody else for joining our power lunch, and have a really great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.